Let's learn all about a snake's life. This story is by Ellen Lawrence. I'm reading it to you with permission from Bearport Publishing. Thanks, Bearport. Meet Grace and Uncle Joe. Grace is keeping a diary about her summer. April 15th, looking for snakes. Today I saw 2 ringed snakes in some bushes near my Uncle Joe's ranch. He said they're California mountain king snakes. Uncle Joe is a scientist who studies snakes, and I like to go looking for snakes with him on weekends. He said the 2 snakes were a male and a female that were meeting up to mate. California mountain king snakes become adults and they mate for the first time when they're about 2 feet long. June 17th, 2 months later. Snake eggs. Today we found 10 white king snake eggs hidden inside an old tree stump. Uncle Joe says that female king snakes lay their eggs about 60 days after mating, and they lay their eggs in a secret place, such as inside a rotting log or under some rocks. Female king snakes don't stay to protect their eggs after they've laid them. These are life-size eggs. So let's see. An egg is about as long as half of a grown-up finger. Now, unlike chicken eggs, a snake egg does not have a hard shell. Instead, its shell feels like soft leather. Why do you think the female king snake hides her eggs? Let's find out. August 14th, another 2 months. The babies hatch. It's been about 60 days since the snake laid her eggs, and today Uncle Joe and I saw some tiny snakes begin to hatch from the eggs. Now sometimes raccoons, skunks, and other predators eat snake eggs, and that's why female snakes hide their eggs. That tree stump was a good hiding place. All the eggs stayed safe. Look at the baby starting to peek out. Baby California mountain king snakes have the same red, black, and white rings as their parents. So there's the snake, and there is its soft eggshell collapsing now that the snake's out of it. August 15th, the next day. When baby king snakes hatch, they're about 9 inches long. So a baby king snake is about as long as one page in this book. And from birth, the babies can take care of themselves. They already know how to find food. And they also know to hide in cracks and rocks to stay safe from predators. Because animals like owls and raccoons, if they can, they'll catch and they'll eat baby snakes. Look at the snake's skin. What do you think that feels like? August 16th, a scaly skin. Today, Uncle Joe carefully picked up one of the baby snakes, and I touched its skin. It felt dry and smooth. A snake's skin is covered with scales. See all those? Those are like little folds of skin that overlapped each other. A snake even has a scale on top of its eyeball. The scale that's on its eye is see-through. A snake's scale protects its skin as it slithers across rocks and rough ground. It's been 2 weeks since the baby snakes hatched. Today we watched one of the babies wriggle out of its skin. It took about 4 hours. The baby snake's body had grown bigger, and its skin was too tight. Underneath the old skin was shiny new skin. And most snakes lose or shed their skin about several times a year. A snake sheds its skin when its body has grown bigger, and it also sheds its skin if the skin gets hurt or worn out. Earlier this morning, I saw one of the baby king snakes lying in the sun. Uncle Joe said the snake had gotten cold in the night. It was using the sun to warm up its body. Snakes are cold-blooded. That means their body temperature goes down when the air is cold and goes up when it gets warm. Snakes belong to an animal group called reptiles. All the reptiles are cold-blooded and most lay eggs. Reptiles also have a backbone and scaly skin. Uh-oh, rat for supper. This evening, Uncle Joe and I spotted a snake creeping up on a rat. And suddenly the snake grabbed the rat in its mouth and began to swallow it whole. King snakes can open up their mouths big enough to swallow a meal that's bigger than their heads. And king snakes eat animals such as rats and mice and baby birds and other snakes. Did you notice? Snakes don't have noses. They smell through their tongues. They flick their forked tongue and they flick it in the air to smell for food. December 1st, waiting for spring. Winter has come, and the weather's getting colder. Uncle Joe says the king snakes will spend the winter resting. They'll hide in underground holes or under piles of rocks. When the weather warms up in spring, the adult snakes will be ready to mate again. I can't wait to see more snakes in the spring. An adult California mountain king snake can be up to 47 inches long. To see how big that is, get a piece of string, measure out 47 inches and spread it out on the ground. Lie down next to the string. Is the string and a grown-up snake longer than you or shorter than you? Let's learn a rhyme and play a game with the start of words, the sound at the beginning of words. We're looking for an animal. We're going to look for a snake. So what is the first sound you hear when I say snake? Snake. Can you say it with me? Snake. You hiss like a snake and you make a s sound. So we're going to be looking for an animal that starts with s. So here's how the rhyme goes. We're looking for an animal that starts with s, and we won't stop till we find it. Now let's give the blue door 3 sharp knocks, and we'll see who hides behind it. Open up the blue door. What did we find? Look what was behind the blue door. Do you see that? We found a tiger. The first sound in tiger is t, 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 t. Is that the same as s? No, we got to keep looking. All right, let's do our rhyme again. We're looking for an animal that starts with s, and we won't stop till we find it. So let's give the red door 3 sharp knocks and see who hides behind it. Oh, look who's behind the red door. What did we find? What animal is this? There's 2 baby piglets. And the first sound in piglet is p, p, And that's not the same as S. So we have to keep looking. We're looking for an animal that starts with S, and we won't stop till we find it. So let's give the green door 3 sharp knocks and see who hides behind it. Oh, look who's behind our green door. He's a little bitty furry mouse. Do you hear that when you say his name really slowly? Mouse. So is the first sound in mouse, and that's not the same as S. I bet our special animal for today is behind here. We are looking for an animal that starts with S, and we won't stop till we find it. So we'll give the yellow door 3 sharp knocks and see who hides behind it. And we did it. Look what we found. We found snake. Can you say the word snake really stretched out and slow? Snake. S is an S sound, and that's the start of snake. Well, this story is called Verdi. It's by Janelle Cannon. She wrote the story and drew the pictures. I'm reading it to you today with permission from Houghton Mifflin Harcourt. On a small tropical island, the sun rose high above the steamy jungle. A mother python was sending her hatchlings out into the forest the way all mother pythons do. Grow up big and green as the trees' leaves, she called to her little yellow babies as they happily scattered among the trees. But Verdi dawdled. He was proudly eyeing his bright yellow skin, and he especially liked the bold stripes that zigzagged down his back. Why the hurry to grow up big and green, he wondered. Maybe some of the older snakes in the jungle could tell him. Verdi ventured into the treetops to look for them. Umbles, Aggie, and Ribbon were lazing on some branches nearby. Verdi peered at their droopy green bodies. "Oh, it's not polite to stare," chided Aggie. Umbles burped and groaned. "Oh, it's taken nearly 4 weeks for that last lizard to digest. I surely do like lizards, but lizards don't like me." "Why don't lizards like you?" asked Verdi. "Don't interrupt," Umbles grumbled. "Dear me," whined Aggie, "if I don't shed soon, this itchy skin will drive me bananas." Verdi tapped a tune with his tail as he waited to speak. "Stop that, Verdi. It makes me nervous," Ribbon complained. "Besides, you'll never grow up to be properly green, always interrupting and constantly fidgeting." Verdi couldn't imagine being in such a hurry to be like them, and he really wanted to keep his sporty stripes. At the top of a very tall tree, Verdi gripped one branch with his tail and another with his little snake jaws. "I'll never be lazy, boring, or green," he thought. "I'll jump and climb and keep moving so fast I'll stay yellow and striped forever." And then Verdi let go. Whoosh! From a distance, the greens watched. "Oh my!" they chorused. Ribbon shook his head. "At this rate, he'll be lucky to make it till his first molt." Aggie nodded. "He's likely to put an eye out on a branch." Umbles moaned. "Oh, he may not live to turn green." But one day, Verdi's skin began to peel, revealing a pale green stripe stretching along his whole body. He gasped. How can this be? I'm the speediest snake in the jungle and I'm still turning green. He raced down to the river, grabbing up a mouthful of rough leaves. Verdi flung himself into the water. If I can't run this green off, I'll scrub it off, he thought. His frantic splashing caught the eye of a large bottom feeder cruising the murky depths. The old fish hummed. Lunch. Before the fish could haul Verdi under, the frightened snake bit him on the nose. Pooh! With a blast of his rubbery lips, the great fish sneezed, sending Verdi into the air. Slapping onto the soggy shore, Verdi skidded out of reach. Whew, that was close, he sputtered. Every inch of his body was covered with wet, gloppy mud. Kind of lumpy, kind of brown. Well, it sure beats being green. He left the mud on. But the soft brown muck dried into a hard gray shell, and Verdi could scarcely move. If he even budged, the stuff cracked off in jagged chunks. As each piece fell away, Verdi could see that his body was even greener than before. "Oh, this is terrible!" cried Verdi. He pictured himself hanging around in droopy loops, itching and complaining and worrying all day like the old greens. He looked up into the sky where the sun blazed a beautiful yellow, just the color he used to be. Then he pulled a vine to the top of the tree and, launching himself from the treetop, Verdi startled a flock of colorful birds. He became dizzy with delight, sure that the bright sun and his lofty speed would turn him golden again. In his joy, Verdi forgot that he would fall back to earth. Whippity-wappity, whip-whap, wham! Plummeting through the trees, Verdi landed in a crooked sprawl across a log on the forest floor. He couldn't move. "Help!" he croaked. As usual, the greens had been watching Verdi's antics. They moved quickly to where he lay. "Oh, didn't we say it would come to this?" Umbles said, shaking his head. "Oh," Aggie sighed. "Lucky thing he's still got two good eyes." They gently lifted Verdi up to a safer place where they could watch over him while he healed. Neatly splinted to a branch, Verdi had no choice but to listen to the greens as they gabbed. "Oh, remember how I used to streak across the forest floor?" Ribbon asked. "Quick as lightning," answered Aggie, "and I climbed giant trees like they were nothing. They grew taller then, you know." "Oh, the things I dared to run down and swallowed," Umbles bragged. "Wild boar were no match for me." Verdi was astonished. "You used to run and climb and hunt wild pigs? What happened?" "Oh, Ribbon crashed just like you," Aggie replied. "I took a terrible fall and almost put an eye out, and then old Umbles here, nearly choked to death. Now we all prefer the quiet life, a warm perch, little sunshine, and an occasional good meal." The greens rambled on about their days of glory, and Verdi settled in on his branch. Finally, one afternoon, Umbles said, "Well, looks like you're ready to go again." He carefully untied Verdi from the branch. "You're welcome to come with us," said Aggie. Ribbon agreed. The three greens slipped quietly back into the forest. Verdi wasn't ready to join them. He wasn't sure where he wanted to go, so he just stretched and stayed put until the sun went down. He listened to the forest come alive. Ooh, I love this picture. Look, see the frog? Oh, and a bug over here. I'm looking for Verdi. I don't see him. Time passed. The sun and moon took turns in the sky. Verdi marveled as the full moon grew thinner every night, and then he watched patiently as it slowly grew round again. Wondered why he hadn't noticed that before. Verdi became so green that he blended perfectly with the leaves. He was so still that other creatures walked right by without even seeing him. One fine morning, as Verdi basked in the sunshine, two small yellow snakes approached. They tapped and fidgeted as they stared. "Hey, get a load of that old green guy," one of them whispered. "Do you think he ever moves?" "I seriously doubt it," the other snickered. "They're just like I used to be," thought Verdi, "and I'm now what I was afraid to be." He looked at his big green body and slowly smiled. "How would you like to climb trees with me?" he asked. "With you?" The yellows were astounded. "I'll even show you my fancy figure eight," Verdi replied, though he was a little worried about putting his eye out. With practice, the three snakes formed a perfect triple figure eight. Leaping and looping with his little striped friends, Verdi laughed. "I may be big and very green, but I'm still me." I want to show you one of my favorite crafts. With this craft, you get to color and you get to cut and you get to weave your snakes in and out of the grass. I have a link. First thing you need to do is print off your snakes and color your snakes and then cut them out along the thick black lines so that you have 1, 2, 3, 4 snakes. Next, I'm going to show you how to get some paper ready so that you can weave your snakes in and out of the grass. They go up, over and under and over and under. So the next thing you need is a piece of construction paper, and you fold it long ways in half, like this. Then you need to draw some stripes. This is going to be where you cut. But remember, don't cut all the way down. Stop about 2 fingers from the bottom and don't cut anymore. So you can cut, or your mom or your dad can cut, or your big sister or your big brother can cut. And I'm all done. The last thing you do, flatten your page out, and you'll need one of your snakes. Let's see if I can get this. You'll need a snake, and you'll go over and under and over the next one and back behind the next one, and you'll go over and under. Then you'll need another snake, we'll make this one crawl the other way. So we'll go under and over and under. Remember to be gentle so you don't tear the grass. Over and under. You can even make your snakes crawl across each other if you want. And you add snakes until you run out of paper and you have them just how you like. And then maybe add a little bit of glue or a piece of tape over your snake's noses so that they don't wiggle right out of your picture. And when you're done, since you will have colorful snakes that you colored, your snakes will look more like this.